Hey everybody, it's Jason from Straight Edge Knives. I'm here with Craig, General Manager at Tops Knives, and we're going to go over a few of the new prototypes they have out here at SHOT Show 2023. Craig, what do we got up first?
You tell me, what do you want to see first?
I think this is something a lot of people didn't expect from Tops, but it's essentially a dive knife, right?
This one, yes. So we do that employee design challenge every year. The last one that we did was for dive knives in particular. We've made kitchen knives, we've made outdoors knives, we made everything but dive knives, really. You know, there might be a few other things out there that we haven't delved into yet, but dive knives, we've never made one. We're landlocked, you know, we're not necessarily divers, and so we didn't want to jump in with something that we thought would be good as a dive knife that makes no sense. And so, yeah, we do. Here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, other than, like, I'm sorry to interrupt.
We're
I'm so sorry.
in the middle of doing a video.
You're good. Anybody with this logo can help you out.
I am so sorry.
It's
No
okay.
worries.
It's
No
SHOT
worries.
Show. It's all right.
Crazy girl.
You're good. You're good.
So SHOT Show, right?
Yes. Welcome to SHOT Show. This is a common thing. People are just in their bubble trying to get their thing done and don't really pay attention sometimes. I've even done things like this too, so it happens. But yeah, so anyway, dive knives. It's not a thing that we've done. We don't.
Yeah.
None of us are scuba divers, and so we wanted to make sure that we did it right. So we had the employees design their knives, and then we had people who actually do this either as a living or as a hobby help us decide on the winners.
Oh,
and
okay.
what we found out pretty quickly into the process is that dive knives are very different depending on what they're for.
Uh-huh.
So if you are a spear fisher, you're probably not going to want the flat-tipped knife that's got the serrations and the tank tapper because you probably don't have a tank, so you don't care. You want a tip so you can stab the fish after you spear it. So there's just like completely different uses. And I always kind of understood that, but just not quite as much until I started talking to people that actually do this. So basically what we ended up with is we picked two winners because we saw two completely different types of user for a dive knife.
Yeah.
So like I say, for your spearfisher, you want the idea that kept coming across to me is that you spear a fish, you pull it towards you. Depending on the size of the fish or where you're swimming, you might want to get out of there pretty quick.
And sharks and whatnot.
Yeah. Or if the fish is too large, like a lot of spearfishers, they free dive. And so they're going to run out, if they run out of breath before they can get up to the surface, that's going to be tough on them. So you want this to basically stab them in the head and kill it quickly, like as humanely as possible. Otherwise, you got this thing just flopping around on your spear, and that's not very fun. That's not a cool thing. And so that's the whole point of this, is to have that sharp point so you can stab the fish, dispatch it quickly, get to the surface. You're getting away from the sharks, or you're getting up so you can breathe again.
Yeah.
So serrations still are a good idea. You never know when you might need to cut your cord. Like maybe you spear something way too big and you got to cut bait. The serrations will be good for that, and or the cutter on the spine. So a lot of that kind of thought process built into the design. The handle's kind of thicker and maybe a little wider, a little more guards than a lot of our other stuff because of that same reason. A lot of
you're underwater, obviously your hand's wet, so you want to definitely make sure your hand doesn't slip up onto the edge. And
a lot of people have gloves too.
Yeah.
And so you want kind of that extra room on the grip. So that's that one. The other one, more of a scuba diving knife. So we're
this is what I've typically seen most of the time in dive knives, is something like this, not necessarily a pointed tip.
Yeah, I never would have thought about the pointed tip until I started talking to people who were like, well, that's cool if you scuba dive, but I fish and I can't use that. And then we were like, okay, this is there's a little more to this. And so, but this one is kind of that more traditional dive knife. Scuba divers, especially like rescue divers, they need redundancies. So that's why you got your serrations on top and a main edge. You don't want a sharp point because you don't want to be puncturing lines or just whatever other gear you've got on you.
Yeah.
And then the exposed pommel on the back, a lot of people call that like a tank tapper. So your scuba equipment usually will have like a dial that says about how much air you have left, but sometimes those freeze or I don't know. I guess some scuba divers just don't really trust them. And so what they'll do is they'll take that piece of metal and they'll hit the tank, and based on the sound, they can tell more or less if they got air left.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I guess I don't know how to do it, but I know that the sound is different if it's full as opposed to empty, and they can kind of tell. And so that's what's going on there. Next up, this one I think is pretty cool. The wood nymph is what we're calling it. Bushcraft Kelso?
Yes, I met him earlier.
Oh, he's here.
Oh,
No, Bobby Bushcraft.
Oh, that's
here.
Bobby.
Bushcraft
Now
Kelso.
I pulled a John.
You did.
Damn.
You did. You and John.
I'm
are
sorry.
gonna-
I pulled a John.
You've been hanging out with him too much, I guess. But yeah, so no. Bobby Bushcraft is like more from like Arizona. Bushcraft Kelso is from Georgia.
Oh,
So
I apologize,
he's
gentlemen.
yeah. Kelso's used to it. So this guy, he owns a farm. He's just a real chill dude. He's got he's kind of eccentric. He's got a goat that's like a family pet. But he's like, the guy's really smart. He's really good at turning things around him into stuff that he can use.
Uh-huh.
And so like he's made full on fishing poles out of wood.
I think I remember you talking about that on one of the podcasts one time.
Yeah. And so cool guy, and he's always doing stuff. And so he brought us this, and it looks, I mean, it's a whittling knife basically.
Yeah.
But he was like, hey, I like these kind of knives, but it'd be cool if you guys made something like this.
Yeah.
And so Leo was like, yeah, man, we'll do it, and we'll put your name on it and everything. So he came up with the name Wood Nymph for it. Basically, for the kind of stuff he does out in the woods, like this is gonna be
perfect.
This is gonna be it.
Yeah, I posted a picture of that earlier on Instagram, and Aaron Morgan over at Houghton Air right away, hey, take a picture of that in your hand. I want to see that.
That one is cool. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
So fillet knives or boning knives. A couple years ago we released the Tops Fillet. It was our first fillet knife. It has the same handle as our Scandi Woodsman. Great knife, nothing wrong with it. But what we wanted to do with this one is get a larger handle and go a little bit thinner on the blade. So it should have a little bit more flex than our other fillet knife, and a full handle. Those were the only two things that I ever heard anybody complain about on that knife. Some people like a bit stiffer knife for a fillet knife, and some people like more flex.
More flex.
So really, the only way you're going to get more flex is to just thin it down some.
Yeah.
So
I think with the other fillet knife with me, it was the handle. Because I have such big hands, I was like, I could see my hand getting tired. If I'm like, I don't do a lot of filleting, but I was going to use it for carving briskets and tri-tips and things. I could my hand might get tired. And then when you told me there might be a bigger handle version, I was like, okay, I'm going to wait. And that does feel great. That feels like it'd be an awesome tri-tip barbecue carving knife.
Yeah, agreed. Like, and the cool thing about this is we base this handle off of the Camp Creek Fire Edition. So this will fit those handles, and those handles will fit this.
Oh.
So we can swap colors and do things like that.
Oh, that's
between
cool.
between the two models.
Now, I forgot to ask earlier, what steel are you guys planning on doing stainless for that fillet knife for cooking purposes? And what steel is going to be used on the dive knives? I forgot to ask that earlier.
We don't know yet. What we don't want is a dive knife that is useless after you've used it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common, especially titanium dive knives. I'm sure they're great because like you can't rust them, but you also can't cut much with them because they dull fast and they're hard to sharpen. So I'm sure like as an emergency tool, it's great because you never have to worry about it rusting. But at the same time, for us, that wouldn't make sense. It needs to be a steel that'll work as a knife and be rust resistant. So no steel is 100% stainless. There are some that are close, but the trade-off a lot of times is you lose your edge retention, or you lose some of the ability just to get a good edge in the first place. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is find the right steel that will not rust easily, but be a good knife.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working on there. I don't know yet.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah. The other one will probably be 154 cm, the fillet knife.
yeah.
Yeah. So next up, we have a newer version of the Mini Scandi folder. I can't even remember what we named it at the moment.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be a Mini Scandi folder. The grind is higher. It's more of a buoy or a clip point.
Yeah.
It's not a Scandi at all, so we're not going to call it the Mini Scandi folder. But it is the same handle with a new blade shape. The cool thing about this one is we're going to use M390.
M390. LMAX still, or is it M390?
No. My bad. There's something else we're working on that you haven't seen yet.
Oh.
That's going to be M390. This one is going to be LMAX.
Oh, okay.
So that's a steel we've never used before. So I'm interested to see how everything goes with that. Still made by Mazarin out of Italy.
Nice.
So this one's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's really cool. I really like it. And then you changed the clip on it as well, too, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. So the regular Mini Scandi folder has a clip, kind of.
Like this one?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot like that one. So it sits. The top of the knife will sit just a little bit above your pocket. With this, it's got that deep carry clip. You can put it on either side. But Leo basically wanted something a little more out of the way, so it's a little thinner profile altogether, and then it's up and on top of the handle instead of right in the middle of it.
And then the other difference is it has that back spacer built into it as well.
Yes, that spacer is what allows this to be
the clip,
kind of tight and secure and not too weak.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we got going on there.
Nice.
I'm excited. This one will be pretty cool.
I like it. I like clip point style blades or hunter style blades, and that fits that bill. Like I'll definitely be picking one of those up.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. The ERSK is short for Eagle Ridge Survival Knife. The guy that designed this is from Ireland. I don't know much about him other than the fact that he's a legit bushcrafter guy. Man, he spends a lot of time outside. He loves having good quality tools. The guy he's got a lot of dirt time.
Yeah.
And so when we first got this, my first thought was that looks really plain. I don't know if it looks very comfortable. And so immediately I'm kind of like doubting this guy. And I don't even know him. I've never met him. And it's just like that's the design. And then we cut the prototype out of wood, and I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. And then we cut the actual prototype, and now it's just grown on me a lot. Like it is, yes, it's plain, but this handle is super comfortable.
Yeah.
It's got a good heft to the handle, which I like a lot. We did the 90-degree spine on it, our modified Scandi grind.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's got new features anywhere, but it's just really well thought out. The tip is in a good line with the middle of the handle.
It just looks like a tank of a knife. It just looks like a hard-working, beat the hell out of it type of knife.
And you can hold it, regular. You can do your like chest grip. You can do pretty much any kind of grip on this. Feels good.
Yeah.
So it's not like some knives which are very directional. If you try to turn it around and do something else with it, it's uncomfortable or you got hot spots unless you're holding it a certain way. This handle is modular, basically.
Very neutral.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that. I thought that was pretty cool. After I got over the initial thought of like that looks too plain, then I was like, okay, it doesn't have to look super super fancy.
It's just got to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that one. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Josh Navarrete designed this one.
That one caught my eye. I don't know. That's my style. That's I like it, and it felt really good in my hand.
Yeah. So the guy that designed this one, he's from Oregon. I think he was the first Hispanic person to win Forged in Fire, to win an episode of Forged in Fire, and so he won his first episode that he was on. I think he's been on 2 times since, at least one more time since, and really good guy. He's got a charity type thing that he's building up, where he invites vets to come over and build a knife.
Oh,
But he has all the tools that they can use. He supplies the metal and the supplies, and they just come build a knife. And so for a lot of guys that are, like, and not even just vets, for any guy, like sometimes all you need to blow off some steam is to just hit shit.
yep. I
Just
know. That's
bust out a hammer and start beating on things, and all of a sudden you feel better.
yep.
So
Yep,
it's a cool thing that he's doing, and so that's why we're pretty happy to work with this one.
Yeah, it's an awesome design too. It's just like I said, it's got that big. I don't know, I just like big knives in
Yeah,
general.
it's got that. It's got that, like, I want to cut shit with this,
Yeah.
kind of hit stuff. So yeah, it's a cool blade. I like
like
that
that
a
big
lot.
belly, big on it.
Yeah, big belly, big handle, and the guard is very substantial.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be cool. I like that one a lot.
Last but not least, the
El Pionero.
El Pionero, the Ed Calderon collaboration.
So yeah, this was designed by Ed Calderon. Ed's Manifesto, his Manifesto Radio podcast on Instagram, because his other channel got shut down.
Oh,
So this is based off of like an old paring knife that he had, and it was a wood handle, kind of a satin finished blade. Just very traditional, kind of old paring knife. And so he made some modifications out of this kind of cutout, a little bit more of like a bold end on the handle. And what that does for him is it makes it easy to hold in pretty much any configuration. You got your standard like forward grip. It's nice and comfortable. You flip it upside down. His preferred grip is tip down, blade towards you, and it's just the way he's learned how to handle a knife throughout his career. This is his preferred grip. So that right there is to help you index where your finger goes. It's but it's super comfortable, kind of just any way you hold it, you can move it. It's fast to kind of move around. You feel comfortable holding the thing.
it's super light too. Like
Yeah.
it's
We went thin on it.
It's-
We cut it down to 3/32, which, if we got people out there going really hard on these, using them really hard, like trying to put them through car doors and stuff like that, it's 3/32. It's thin.
yeah,
But the point of this knife is not that. The point of this knife is
quick, fast,
people.
stabby. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is self-defense or offense if you're in that situation.
Yeah.
So
And then is this the final sheet design you guys came up with, or
I don't know.
I'm not sure yet.
I would say that this is an option, but I don't know if we're stuck on this necessarily. But the idea would be something similar to this that could be easily concealed and modular, so that clip could be put in different positions and make it left-handed, right-handed, however you want to carry it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yep.
Well, thanks so much, Craig, for taking the
course,
time to
man.
sit down with me, talk about the new prototype designs and stuff that's coming out soon, and
Absolutely.
greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you much.
Of course.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay sharp, and we will see you next time. My video didn't stop.
Nope, I didn't.
Ah, I'll just get it turned off.